Thank you very much. Thank you, Richard. Well, what a wonderful thing to see everybody here. I'm very proud to say that this building, this institution, is my home institution, and I'm proud to be a fellow here, and I'm very proud to see everybody in this building for the next few days. My job now is to welcome everybody, and I'd like to do a little bit of scene setting on a couple of points. That's better, I can see everybody. So I want to do things, a little bit of a welcome, with particularly focusing on our new members, a reminder about why we're all here, a little bit of discussion about our growth and the challenges that come with that, and also mention some work we're doing on product strategy and the development of that. I think the turnout from the chapters is particularly heartening. A lot of our chapters are represented here. I haven't done a count at this stage, but I'm pretty much certain that most of them are here. And I also want to make a special welcome to our new Russian chapter, who are here present for the first time. Welcome and congratulations for getting that far. I'm sure there's a lot of good work going on, and we look forward to benefiting from your participation, and we hope you find it interesting. So really, I hope everybody does take the opportunity to get to know each other, to get to know people working on the sort of things of common interest in different countries, and that we really sort of seek to share learning across the chapters. We now have monthly chapter calls with chapter leaders to try and facilitate and broaden that cross-country engagement. Talking now about members, well, first of all, I'd like to say that I'm, of course, very thankful, pleased, proud of our cadre of strategic members, Arup, Autodesk, HOK, Kojima Corporation, LafargeHolcim and Nemetschek. Thank you particularly to those companies who back us very strongly and provide a great deal of strategic advice that is allowing us to build up, I think, the growing momentum you'll see demonstrated in this conference. That support is really important, and I very much appreciate it. Thank you. I've also highlighted in red boxes there our new members. These are new since our meeting in the summer, and of course I'm very pleased to welcome every individual and single one of those members. I think you can see the growing interest in the infrastructure area there, particularly rail and the ports and harbours work, and that is particularly heartening, and I think it's a great opportunity for all of us to see strong user-driven, client-driven interest in our standards work, and that will really help, I think, the whole organisation move forward. So a very strong welcome to those new members. Thank you for joining and having the confidence in what we're doing. There are also a lot of guests here, and you are also warmly welcome. Please do take the time to understand all our rooms and activities. There will no doubt be a lot of language which is complicated and codified. Please just ask other people in the rooms, and can I ask the people who do understand the language, if anybody asks, please take the time to explain what we're talking about. It can be quite a difficult organisation to penetrate for newcomers. So please, this is a learning and sharing experience, everybody, and you're very welcome. I'd like now to talk about why we're here. For some of us, they're sort of, lifelong missionaries. This is a cause célèbre. We're committed to achieving the end game. It's something that's in the heart, driving the transformation. Not everybody knows that, and I think it's useful in this audience to perhaps think a little bit about why we think it's so important to get engaged. And I have to say, everybody in this room are part of a leadership group. This is a shared project, and we are all, if you like, shared leaders in I think, an important and giant mission to bring about the meaningful and effective digitisation of the transport of the construction sector at large, built asset industry, and that is a pressing opportunity which the world is struggling to implement, and our job is to help them. Why are open digital standards so important? What is our role and why are we important in that? And why you should take a leading role? I think there is multiple evidence now that this sort of lack of digitization and in fact the missed value that is associated with that is recognized around the world. We see that through the World Economic Forum. We have seen it in Europe in the multiple national programs seeking to drive forward digitization of the construction sector. So it is something that is happening. And my message to the industry is, this is not something to run away from, it's something you have to run into. You need to be part of the leadership group, working out the challenges, learning the best way forward and helping direct those solutions to give you the benefits you want. There isn't an opportunity, I don't believe, to opt out of this, and therefore you need to join in if you want to be in the best position in the future. I don't think anybody is arguing with the premise that digitally based construction will save time and money on design, in construction and in operations, and help make more and better informed decisions. The ultimate issue here, of course, is a better environment, better solutions for the end customer. They're the people in the end of the day who are ultimately paying for this, and therefore it is those solutions which drive perhaps the interest in and the funding and resources that are needed to drive forward our activities. Underpinning all this is open, shareable, machine-readable data. That's what we need. We need data we can share with confidence between machines and so that the other computer knows what we're talking about. And for that, we have to have good data. The only way you can have good data is if you have a standard so that people know what it was meant to mean, that you can track provenance and quality. So absolutely, fundamentally required in this premise of digital communication is data you can share, and that requires open, shareable standards. You can do it if you want on a proprietary basis. Of course, there are many companies who do that, but a lot of the value is captured by those companies. And what we're about is trying to open up the value for the industry at large. Now, just talking a little bit about buildingSMART, and I think it is a growth story at the moment, and that's both exciting. It's wonderful to be part of it. I feel very proud to have been invited into this community 4 years ago, but it brings with it its challenges. So let me talk about some of those dimensions now. First of all, chapters. We've already seen that the chapters grow. The countries wishing to join in as chapters grow. I was delighted actually to meet a gentleman in the audience from Ireland today, indicating that there's an Irish interest that's growing and getting stronger. I've also got an email in my intro from some people in Egypt. So there are many, many countries that are not in our community at the moment who are starting on the learning curve and want to join in and understand about open standards and how to join in this movement. So that is a very exciting dimension. The other thing is that the expectations of our chapters are changing dramatically. A lot of the chapters started when the focus was very much about building the technologies and the toolkits that we need to work. Nowadays, there's much more of a leadership being demanded at the country level, a number of country programs coming into place, and our chapters need to understand where they fit in the different national environments. So there's a lot of demand being placed on our chapters as well. They go through transitions. So exciting challenges there. Members are, of course, continue to grow, and I hope we will steadily see a growing platform of members in our international and standard categories. That is the bedrock of what we're going to do. We are getting better at understanding our single membership proposition from buildingSMART and its chapters towards external organisations. Still something we haven't ironed out fully, but it's very, very important, and we need to keep working at it so that we as a collective speak with one voice to the outside world. And guests, more and more people inquiring of us, more and more people who want to understand us in plain English. So this challenge of communication, of being open, providing user manuals, explaining our technologies, grows as this whole momentum grows. I think this is exciting, and it's just what we're looking for. Of course, our activities are growing. We're all, I think, aware of the infrastructure room and the strong set of programs that are developed there. But I don't want I don't want that loud voice to shout down all the other good things that are going on in a lot of the other rooms and a lot of the other work and programs. A lot of steady investment by people to bring forward initiatives, and it's wonderful to see it across the board. I think I am excited to be now in a period where we're starting to be able to offer an increased range of services. The individual qualification scheme will be discussed at this summit, and I'm expecting to see that launched soon. We've got the new software certification scheme, which has taken off very well since the new platform has been built, and the buildingSMART data dictionary is reaching the stage where we were expecting to make a beta launch of that shortly after this summit. So a range of services there which are aimed at helping people actually implement and adopt these technologies. Organisations, Richard has sort of, I think, given you an insight into the larger team in the international organisation, but Germany, Norway and China now also have permanent staff supporting them. And I think this threshold of permanent staff is quite an interesting challenge for the chapters. Certainly once you have got to the critical mass where you can start to employ somebody, I think it's a tipping point, and it helps you accelerate your growth. So that's a sort of a message for me, that's something to focus on, trying to help chapters get to that stage. A little bit about growth challenges. Clearly there are international and national demands, and very often we are short of resources. I don't know anybody in the sort of leadership team, if it's collective team, who isn't sort of have divided loyalties about where to place their time and effort. And I recognise that as a challenge that we need to manage and recognise and be respectful of. There are, in organisational growth, there are lots of new people coming into our work programmes, and so we have to spend quite a lot of time in onboarding people and facilitating their understanding and helping them create the projects they want to work on. And of course then communication and decision making become more difficult the bigger we get. So at this stage what I wanted to really underline was a big thank you to all of the leaders and all of your participants for the hard work you put in, largely on a voluntary basis, to help this movement grow and get stronger, and to develop clear projects with clear outcomes. It's very important, it is much appreciated, and buildingSMART remains at its heart a volunteer organisation driven by you as a leadership collective. And that for me is a vitally important point. Behaviours. I hope we have recently launched a formal code of conduct. It was one of the things that you should have seen when you registered for this conference. That deals with our legal responsibilities to make sure that we are not breaching any antitrust or competition law. So it is a serious thing. Please take note of it. One of the sort of responsibilities I have is to remind everybody they may not collude, etc. in our conferences. We are strictly neutral and we cannot get involved in marketing. I think the other point it raised with me is that as we're growing, we sort of, one of the things that buildingSMART has become known for is the IFC. And this point I refer to not the Industry Foundation class, but the International Friendship Club. I suppose for me, sometimes this is passed off as a joke, but it's not. There's a serious point in underlining friendship. How we get on and collaborate together is fundamental for our success. And so I kind of wanted to emphasize that I think when we're in hard discussions, when we're struggling to reach consensus or agree ways forward internationally, sort of in a collaborative attitude, respect for individuals and a friendship proposition are very important, I think, to our success. I want to spend a few moments, I've got a little bit of time, on product strategy. In my mind, we have in the agenda something called IFC strategy. We're renaming that to call it product strategy. And the particular point there is to be inclusive of all our technologies. I think for me, the context here is what I call digital megatrends. We've got the smart cities sort of momentum out there. Clearly, we've got the web, gaming technologies, we've got security issues and challenges. And we have to understand our products within that environment and make sure that we're developing our products in a way that takes proper account of those issues going forward. I think the other thing we've got to be cognizant of in working out a product strategy is that the rewards are driving development. We see that ourselves in that the interest in infrastructure is where there is a need, and that is driving a lot of the new activity. But beyond that, I think it's clear that the market perception is that there are bigger rewards to be gained in operations and social benefits. That's the smart cities end of it. That's the example, if you like, of that happening. So how do our technologies play into smart city environments is something we should think through and connect up in order, I think, to lead to a lot of the development of products in a lot of our other rooms, the buildings room, for example. The other observation I make is that I hear a lot more now about object-based exchanges and less about file exchanges, and maybe that's something we need to really understand what's the implication of that when we're talking about product strategy. So, for me, we clearly do need a product strategy. It's a very important thing. It will enable quicker progress. I think we need to describe for users our products and outputs, building on our set of enabling technologies. And we need to describe how our technologies work together. And the other thing that is clear is that vendors need help, a better structure to increase their engagement with us. And of course, the vendor support is vital to getting the take-up that we want. And I think a strategy will help then. So I really wanted to note that this product strategy work is going on. There is a session here. It's not going to be the final session. There are certainly too many conflicts in this particular meeting for us to feel we've got all the participants in one room together having that discussion. So it's a very important contribution, but it's a conversation that will go on and will be an important part of the thing we bring forward again next year. So I think have a good conference. I don't want to talk too long, lots of other people talking. It's been, I suppose, exciting over the last 4 years to see the growing interest, and I think this conference looks set to be another great one. Thank you very much, everybody.